Alrighty, folks. So today we're going to be talking about building financial freedom, how to create and follow a money plan. Like usual, I broke today into two parts. Part one being the importance of a financial roadmap. So just talking about why it's important. And part two is going to be how to track financial progress and pay yourself first. So paying yourself first is kind of a subject we're going to be talking about, which we'll get into more depth, but it's an important concept to understand when trying to systematically build wealth. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The importance of a financial roadmap. So why you need a money plan. Yeah, talking about goals and overall things in life, you need direction. If you're doing everything by the gust of the wind or just riding the wave, financially speaking, you'll probably be living paycheck to paycheck for the rest of your life. So setting yourself up for success regardless of what your income to expenses ratio is right now. There's habits that we can put in place that will really help us down the road. So clear financial roadmap provides direction, helping you make intentional choices with your money rather than reacting impulsively. So without a plan, money tends to disappear on untracked expenses. With a plan, you can build wealth systematically. So that's the basics. We understand that. And I heard this from a financial advisor a long time ago that, money is a very cruel mistress. If you are not paying extra special attention to your money, she's going to walk out the door and you won't see her anymore. This is a very true concept to get behind when we're talking about wealth building overall. I think in today's society, at least speaking for a lot of Americans in similar positions than I am today, things like streaming services and eating out and going out for a drink or two or your entertainment budget, whatever that looks like, they tend to go untracked, and a little purchase here, a little purchase there in your mind is only a couple bucks, or maybe it was $50 dinner. It's not that big of a deal, but those things add up very quickly. So if you're not measuring that stuff, there's no way you're going to be able to optimally manage your wealth over time. So we're going to touch into that as well. So financial freedom isn't about how much you make. It's about how well you manage and grow what you earn. And that was very clear to me when I was in the military. Military has fixed pay rates. If you could look at how long someone's been in service and what their rank was, and you can know exactly how much they were making. And I saw plenty of E5, some sergeants that were very wealthy and on their way to own 3-4 rental properties and doing very well for themselves. And I also I knew very many sergeants that were essentially broke, living paycheck to paycheck. And that was a very clear example to me early on that, it really is not about your income. It's about how you're managing your money, essentially. So setting clear wealth goals is really, really important, I believe, for long-term success. So defining short-term and long-term goals are essentially the essence of what wealth building looks like. And then you can automate it so you don't have to think about it anymore. So for a short-term goal, for example, would be, okay, I want to save $5,000 in 6 months or $10,000 in 6 months. And then a long-term goal, for you may look like, I want to reach financial independence. Well, that's a good goal, but I recommend making a SMART goal out of it. It has to be measurable. It has to be time bound. It has to be relevant. All this stuff, you need to pay attention to what your goals are. And financial freedom for you may look like no debt and $65,000 a year in asset revenue, where you're not trading your time for money. For some of you, it may look like $200,000 a year and you're putting in still 30 hours a week. So it really depends. And this is where the specifics come in place, making SMART goals. Again, I believe, where do I have it in here? Someone can help me out. They're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. That stuff is really important when we talk about, setting yourself up for long term. Bojangles, what is up? I had a drill sergeant make a million on Tesla calls while I was in there. Yeah, that's crazy. I saw a lot of people make money on meme coins as well when I joined. That's funny. What's up, Josh? Welcome. So moving forward, we just talked about defining short-term and long-term goals. This stuff is truly important. And if you're someone who is making, decent money, not great, and you don't have a specific budget, you're like, yeah, I know that my expenses are this, and I make more than that, so I really don't have to worry about anything. You don't have any mid or long-term goals for your money. I promise you that stuff just doesn't happen over time. You have to make goals to achieve these goals. You need to make goals to achieve your goals. How about that? But moving on. So you might, another example for a goal for you relating to trading might be, aim to get a payout every 4 to 8 weeks while building an investment portfolio for retirement. So, again, we have to think of your financial health, as an overall everything, all your expenses, all your revenues of income, whatever it is. We can't just think about trading. We have to think about how much is trading costing you. Are you someone who, tends to like to gamble and, you find yourself consistently over leveraging, picking up a lot more accounts than you probably should. And sometimes you get a payout, sometimes you don't. You have to factor all that stuff into your budget. What does your income look like, and does it allow you to, spend $600 a month, $250 a month, whatever that is, into these eval accounts, into these prop firms, and you rationalize it by saying they're only $50, they're only $75, and you do it over and over and over again. But it's the same thing as about going to Starbucks every day. Yeah, it's $5, $6, $7. It doesn't really matter when you swipe that card, but if you stack that up, it becomes a significant problem when we're talking about, systematically building wealth over time. So you have to look at the bigger scope here. And so I'm going to stop beating the dead horse. You guys get it. Make goals, make specific SMART goals, short-term, midterm, and long-term. And when we talk about, or we'll get into the specifics of how to actually measure this stuff in a optimal way. So, and again, my last point on part one was using SMART goals, to stay focused and track progress. And my dad always told me when I was a kid, and I hold it dear to my heart now, you truly cannot manage something optimally that you're not measuring. So I'm talking about budgeting. You have to measure every dollar that's going out and every dollar that's coming in if you want to truly manage that correctly. And that's how you build wealth over time. Sure, very few people do get lucky and they win the lottery or they inherit it. But when we look at first generation multimillionaires, what are they doing? They're extremely disciplined with their finances, and they're up to date, and they make goals and they work to achieve them. What separates them from most middle American or the 90%, I would say, what separates them from the majority of us is that it's not income, it's what those expenses look like. So getting rid of working down your debt as fast as possible and consistently investing and striving for, new streams of income or a raise of where you're at, whatever it is, it's typically not their vocation that makes the biggest difference. It's getting into real estate and buying assets and getting rid of liabilities, all that stuff. So part two is how to track financial progress and pay yourself first. This stuff is essential in my mind. So monitoring net worth and cash flow. So tracking your assets, which looks like your savings and your investments, and your liabilities. So any debts that you might have or things that could cost you money, to calculate your net worth and assess financial health. I didn't look up for you guys, specific spreadsheets or financial apps because I think everybody really leans towards something different. I'll share a few of them in a moment when I talk about a real life example, but truly, if you're looking to how to track your net worth, look up online, net worth tracking software or spreadsheet, and there's be 15 different options for you on the first page of Google to look. So just find one. It doesn't matter. It's just what matters is starting to measure that stuff and truly make strides to start saving, to start investing, to know where your money's going, know what your liabilities are, know what your assets are. Once all the foundational work is done, you really don't have to think about it. You just have to update it, check in on it once a month, and make adjustments from there. It's not a big deal. And especially now, in today's day and age, there's a million ways to become a millionaire, but most of us just don't want to be smart about this. And we think we blame the government or the system or our boss or our spouse, whatever it is, for the financial position we're in. But truly, it's totally up to you. Of course, I'm not dismissing, health ailments, and bad things do happen, but take accountability for where you're at and start making goals and start making strides towards reaching those goals. So again, using a simple spreadsheet or a financial app to review your income, your expenses, and savings each month. And the one I was going to talk about here, I just built a budget for my girlfriend. And let me pull it up on my notes here so you guys know what I did on Google Sheets. If you guys are curious about how I typically look at budgets, for me, it's very simple. I typically follow the 50-30-20 rule, where 50% of your income goes towards your needs, 30% goes towards your wants, 20% goes towards investing. That obviously can change. Sometimes you're in a position where your needs is 85% of your income, and that's a rough spot to be. But what are your goals, and how are you going to start to slim down that percentage? This is the stuff we got to be talking about and working towards. So just finding my note really here quickly. So she wanted to start saving and investing a lot more. And she's in a very nice position where only about 22%, I think it came out to, of her income has to go towards needs. Everything else right now is going to be going towards maxing out her Roth IRA, a high yield savings account, and we're doing a slush fund as part of a savings as well. If you guys don't know what a slush fund is, it's typically money you specifically set aside, almost like a savings, but that slush fund is made for, vacations, gifts, whatever it is. And so you're not pulling out of your high yield savings account to go on vacation. This is built into your budget. And that's what a slush fund is, to me, at least. And so she's in a unique position. So the majority of what she's making can go towards that stuff. But it really just, what matters is, starting that budget and looking at your expenses. And if you are in a financial position with a lot of variables where you may have 1, 2, or 3 streams of income and you have a lot of expenses, you may have your spouse that you may be supporting, you may have multiple kids, you may have this, that, and the other liabilities, and you may have a pretty generalized idea of what you're making, what's going out. But I'm telling you, if you want to start making true strides towards financial freedom, or at least to a point where retirement looks very nice, is becoming extremely articulate and data driven about your budget. And so again, looking up Google Sheets, they have pre-made templates for budget. That's what I use for budgeting. It's not perfect, but it's pretty dang close. Artificial intelligence has skyrocketed recently, as I'm sure most of us know in this chat. Is to make your budget, and this is what I did with my girlfriend. I asked her, and this obviously, you got to trust someone if you're going to do this for someone else, but I asked for, if you just want to do it for yourself, go download your last 3 or 4 months of, maybe 6 months if you want to get really accurate, of your credit card statements and your bank statements, plug it into ChatGPT or whatever else you use for artificial intelligence. ChatGPT is free. If I pay for it, but regardless, you can still do it for free. Plug it in, say, hey, break all this stuff down into categories. What am I spending money on? What does that look like? And you can get a pretty generalized idea just by asking a few prompts of like, hey, how can I start to save more money, cut down on unnecessary expenses without feeling it in my day-to-day life? Simple prompts like that, downloading a few of your bank statements and plugging it in, taking 30, 45 minutes, an hour to do this, it's essentially zero cost. You're burning 1 hour to set yourself up for truly long-term success. And we've talked about Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks here before. This is what really makes millionaires, first generation millionaires, when we talk about stuff like this. When we're not talking about going and getting a $300,000 a year vocation, a career, or a job, we're talking about an average American that's starting at 25, 35 years old, maxing out their 401k, their Roth 401k, maxing out their Roth IRA. When you put that money into it, and it's for the Roth IRA, it's $7,000 a year. So it comes out to $583 and some change per month. And you put that away. The compounding interest, you just invest into some mutual funds. You could do, I would recommend like the Vanguard S&P 500, anything like that. I'm not a financial advisor. I recommend you get one, but anything like that, that will compound to millions and millions of dollars just by putting away $584 a month. The initial investment, if you do that at 25 years old, let's call it 30, you put away money for 35 years, and your initial investment, if someone wants to do the math for me, is a couple $100,000. It's not that much. And your payout is 10x because of the compounding interest and how that works. It's pretty incredible, and I highly recommend it. But anyway, for those of you looking for specific recommendations, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but what I use and for Roth IRA is Charles Schwab. It makes the most sense for me, but just look it up, go to NerdWallet, whatever, just look at, find something that works for you. And then for a high yield savings account, the American Express high yield savings account, I believe, I was just doing this research, is at like 3.8% a year. Maybe it's 4.8. Let me look it up real quick for you guys. Amex high yield savings account. Let's see for you guys. But anyway, this stuff is important to do your research. If you are, let's say you bank with Bank of America or Wells Fargo, yeah, it's 3.8% a year. You can find ones with higher, but there's some contingencies to that. With American Express, it's a flat rate. The money you put into that, regardless of any contingencies, is going to grow 3.8% per year. But let's say you bank with American Express or Wells Fargo and you put money away. That money is depleting in value. Let's say you have $10,000 in your savings account and it's growing at 0.01% per year or 0.1% per year. That's typically what I think Wells Fargo is sitting at. You're losing to inflation, and inflation during the last 4 years has been extremely rough. Hopefully that starts to come down, but regardless, inflation is historically moving up for 100 years, 200 years now. So you need to try to combat that. What is your money actually doing? If you have $1 million in your savings account and you wait 40 years to use that, you just lost. That money is, 40 years by now may look like $500,000 in spending power. So I hope you guys are thinking about this stuff, and there's some real recommendations. If you guys have questions, I've been researching this stuff a ton. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'd love to point you in the right direction or give you stuff that I'm using, and maybe you could use it too to find benefits in it. But again, I just recommend that you guys start measuring your finances. My last little point for you guys here is the power of paying yourself first. And this is how you implement it, what we've been talking about into your monthly, budgeting, and you won't feel it as much as you might if you were doing this by yourself. So prioritizing savings and investing before spending on non-essentials. This is what paying yourself first looks like. So if you're able to, automating 20%, 15% of your paycheck into an investment or savings account before paying bills. This is what makes a difference between your retirement looking like a couple $100,000 to a couple million. This is the steps that it takes. And, you could treat your savings like a fixed expense where you set up to automatically remove or automatically withdraw to your savings account, so it doesn't feel, you don't have the temptation of going out and spending that money because it's already gone. It's in your savings, it's in your portfolio, it's in your Roth IRA, whatever it is. All of these financial institutes have auto draft available. So what I'd recommend, what that really looks like, let's say you want to open up a Roth IRA account, go Charles Schwab or whatever, whomever else, and let's say you get paid on the first, set up an auto draft to pull the $584 a month if you are able to max it out, or maybe you can't, and maybe you want to start with $50 a month. Set up auto draft and set it up on the 4th or the 5th, so in case any contingencies with your paycheck fall through, gives you some breathing room. Set it up on the 4th and have that auto draft go to where it's going to your high yield savings account, it's going to your Roth IRA, your 401k. All this stuff is taken care of. It's pre-built into the budget. You don't have to think about it. And that's just essentially the foundations of being financially literate. We cannot, talking about literacy, we can't read what if we don't have the book in front of us. We have to see where our money's going. So I hope, I know this is, a lot of this may sound trivial, but this is what is separating middle America from the top earners. Is, of course, if you're first generation and you're really trying to make something happen, it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of work. But if you put in that work now and you're just smart with your money and you have a decent job and you make your investments, you get rid of as many liabilities as you can, you invest in assets, you put money away towards your retirement, your kids are going to be in a position, and if you make them financially literate, to where true financial freedom starts to happen over the generations. But it starts with education, and it starts with your monthly spending. And so I know, again, a lot of this may sound trivial, and it might not make a lot of difference, but I promise you, this is the stuff that it takes to reach whatever goals you have. If it's financial freedom, this is the foundational steps to reach that. So just a few things to remember as we walk away is, finding short-term and long-term wealth goals for yourself, defining them, putting them down on paper, and then aligning a budget. If you want to go back and watch my last video, you can find it under John's lessons, or actually they're under lessons under strategic selects. I could put that in the chat for you today about the basics of budgeting and what that looks like in investing. But start budgeting, really pay yourself first, where you're paying your future self instead of, eating out, 7 times a week or whatever it is you guys do. But, and then choose a tracking method, either there's plenty of apps like Rocket Money or whatever that will help you track your expenses in real time, or just use a spreadsheet. Utilize AI. This stuff's for the most part free. Just plug in that stuff and you don't even have to think about it after you lay the foundations. So just remember, money is a cruel mistress. If you want it to stay, you got to pay attention. So I leave you guys with this. Financial freedom starts with a clear money plan. By setting intentional wealth goals, tracking financial progress, and prioritizing savings and investing before spending, you can create a system for long-term financial success and security. So that's what I got for you guys today. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, something totally different, want to talk about psychology or risk management in your trading career or whatever that looks like, let me know. But as far as today's lesson, that's what I got for you. What do you guys think? Are these beneficial? Do you want to see more of them, less of them? Let me know. Again, we're here for you guys. So let me know what you guys think. Well, sweet. Nice and tidy. Not a lot going on today. So Jojo has one more session, I believe. Joe, if you're there, is coming up in about 30 minutes, I believe. So hopefully you guys are being, aware of not only all the essentials of being a good trader, having your risk management portfolio, leaving that in front of you when you trade, knowing exactly how much money from outside of trading, knowing exactly how much of your income you're using to learn trading. Can you afford it? Do you have to pull back? Can you increase it a little bit? measure this stuff out. This stuff really is important. So I appreciate you guys a ton, and hope you guys realize it's this whole crazy life, as much as we talk about it, it's not all about money. It's about the mark you're leaving here, the influence you have on others. I hope you guys are prioritizing your health. You know, it's just like money. A lot of us kind of take it for granted. You know, we have it right now, so why build towards something in the future? But I hope you guys do have a good diet. You're picking the right options, staying away from non-organic stuff, working out, doing all that good stuff. So I appreciate you guys a ton. I really, really do. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you are there for our prop firm giveaway, and hope you guys make some money in the next lesson. See ya.